is clear to us. So Shivanshu, if it is kind of clear to you, please raise your hand. If it is not, okay, you have raised your hand. Thank you. All right. Next question is asked by Utsav Kumar. He's saying, sir, while using contraction, you said you will get tensor of lesser order. If one of the tensor is of order 2 and the other is of order 1, what will be the order of the new tensor after contraction? So very good question, but you just have to be a little bit careful when talking about contractions. So in strictly speaking, we must always say that it is a single contraction or a double contraction or things like that. OK, but going by the context in what you are asking, it seems like you are talking about a single contraction. So your question is if one of the tensors is of order 2 and yes, and the other is of order 1. OK, so what will be the result of the tensor obtained from a single contraction? So we can quickly take a look. So let me again go back to the writing app. So let's say our second order tensor is like this, Tij, and there is a separate, I'm not writing them together. OK, so let's say Tij is here and let's say there is Vk. So this Tij is a tensor of order 2 and this Vk is a tensor of order 1. So we want to take the contraction of these two. If you want to take the contraction of these two things, all that you have to do is make one of the indices to be the same. OK, so let's say that we take the j to be equal to k. We have another choice, of course, that we can set I equal to k. That will result in something completely different. But for our illustration purpose here, we'll just take j equal to k. OK, so set j equal to k. Then what you obtain from here is Ti k Vk. Now you see what is the order of this tensor. You have a dummy index in the form of this k, which is common between the two. This is repeated index. This is a dummy index. It does not contribute to the order of the tensor. We have only one free index here, I, and this is very much a tensor of order 1. OK, so I hope this answers your question. Next, Mr. Ranjan Mukesh Borkar is asking, sir, doubt about matrix representation. We have seen that A dot B is equal to A transpose B and A. So when you are writing with the asterisks, I have to understand that this is supposed to be a dyadic product. OK, so A dyadic product B is equal to AB transpose. OK, but it isn't working for tensors of second order as of question 2. I get different answers when I use index notation and when I use the above given formula. Yes, so this question has actually been asked in the discussion channel of the mathematical preliminaries. One of the students has already asked this and the TAs have given a perfect answer to this. OK, so this kind of a trick, the AB transpose, it will work only when this small a and small b are vectors or are tensors of order 1. For higher order tensors, the problem is, you see, if you want to take the dyadic product of two second order tensors. OK, so let's go to our writing app and let me just tell you quickly what the teaching assistants have very correctly said. So we are talking about the dyadic product of two second order tensors. OK, let's say we have two second order tensors. A, the double tilde beneath it represents it's a tensor of order 2. And let's say we have another tensor of order 2, B. And we wish to take the dyadic product of these two. All right. Now this A is in index notation. Let us say that this is Ij. And this B, this is KL. All right. Now note that we are not here interested in taking any contraction. It is a simple dyadic product and there is no common index or anything like that. Whatever it was Aij, that remains as Aij. Whatever this BKL, you can write MN, whatever, anything else. OK, as long as they are different indices, they are fine. So this is like this. Now forget about the A, B, and you just think about the indices. How many free indices are here? There are 4 free indices, right? Now this is a tensor of order 4. A tensor of order 4, you cannot, so easily represent it using a matrix. OK, so the way that, in fact, it is very hard to visualize also. However, just because it is hard to visualize does not mean it does not have any practical applicability. It's not just a mathematical entity. Okay, in fact, we will come across a very useful, extremely pertinent to our study of elasticity, a fourth order tensor in the fourth chapter on constitutive or material behavior. So the elasticity tensor will be very much a fourth order tensor, and between the stress tensor and the strain tensor. Okay, so there we'll see the practical application of this. But to answer your question, you cannot here. Okay, so this thing is certainly not okay. It is certainly not equal to a thing like this. You cannot do this. Okay, because you see, if you carry out a matrix multiplication between two 3x3 matrices, I mean, it is only going to give you a 3x3 matrix. Now, a 3x3 matrix is at best a representation of a second order tensor. But you see, the result of the dyadic product of two second order tensors is a fourth order tensor. So these things are not just equal; they are of different tensor orders. Okay. So it's completely different. I hope that answers your question, Ranjan. So next, Neeraj Narayanan is asking, sir, can you please explain how to find the order of tensors containing partial derivatives and how to expand them? Okay, so I believe this is again directly from one of the problem sheets, and we'll come to that. Okay, just hang on. Sir, in the contraction, can we take Tij Vk is equal to Tii Vk? What is this? Vikram, can you please, Vikram Kumar Mutkani, can you please unmute yourself and ask me what you intend to ask? It is not very clear to me. Vikram, if you can hear me, please unmute yourself and ask me what you want to ask. Are you online? Okay, maybe we can come back to his question. Can everyone else hear me? Please raise your hand. Okay, thank you. So maybe Vikram is offline or something. I don't know. Balasaheb is writing no sir to whom. I'll go to Saksham Kumar's question. Sir, why are we allowed to write? Oh, see, you have to go back to your high school maths book for this. I'm not going to discuss this. Okay, so you are asking about cross product and dot product. Okay, so you need to revise that from your +2 textbook. It's absolutely fine to have such doubts. There is no problem, but we are not going to invest time on that here. Akshay Kaushik is asking, sir, could you please write the component notation of AI and AJ? Aren't they both the same? So if you want to write it using the I, the component notation, like if you want to write the whole thing, let me just try to see. So if you intend to write for the vector A, okay, so the equivalent index notation is certainly AI, and the component notation very explicitly would be this I equal to 1 to 3, AI, EI. Equivalently, this is absolutely equivalent to writing it like AJ, EJ. Of course, we have to put the hats here, where the J is also going from 1 to 3. And sometimes with a little bit of, even as I had pointed out on the first page of the mathematical preliminaries notes, so sometimes we also write this as AI hat in a hybrid kind of notation, or EJ hat. Okay, so they are certainly mean the same vector.
Sir, can I interrupt you for a minute?
So what is it? Akshay speaking?
Yes, sir. I'm
Yes,
Akshay.
yes. Tell me.
Sir, in the first line, actually, when the session started,
Yes.
when you were performing the chronicle transformation, then AI was transformed to AJ. So, what is the significance of that? Since
So by itself, just writing on these things, it doesn't make any practical sense. I mean, you are just manipulating symbols there. Okay, but as part of an actual tensor equation, these things will make a huge lot of difference. Okay, so otherwise this is just a game. Like if you can go back to the shared screen, and if you see this thing, AI delta ij is equal to AJ. So this is just a fun way of writing it. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. I mean, what I'm doing here, whatever AI is, this AJ is basically physically representing the same vector. Okay, but as part of an actual equation, you will see that it does make a lot of difference. We'll come to those examples. Okay, the actual illustrations of that will come to in the kinematics chapter as well as on the stress chapter, and you will have occasion to use those in your problem sheets also. So we'll come to that. Okay. After that, we have the question from Tekumundi Nanda. He's asking, sir, simply order of dyadic product of two tensors is addition of orders of two tensors, and for contraction it is the difference of orders of two tensors. Is it right, sir? So the first part of your question which you are answering is correct. So if you are taking the dyadic product of two tensors, the resulting tensor will have an order which is simply the sum of the orders of the two original tensors. But the contraction is not so straightforward. So let me show it here on the writing pad. You take this example itself. Okay, so here we are performing the dyadic product of two second order tensors A and B. So this is far more explicit in the index notation. So here we have Aij and Bkl. This is the dyadic product. Okay, and this is very much a tensor of order 4. You see, individually this was order 2, this was order 2. Total is 2 plus 2 equal to 4. Similarly, suppose we have a tensor of third order, Aijk, and we are taking the dyadic product with let's say a second order tensor like BPQ. So the resulting entity, it will be a fifth order tensor like Tijkpq. Okay, I cannot give you any physical example of a fifth order tensor. I don't know. Okay, but at least mathematically speaking, this is what it is. It is a fifth order tensor. However, if you want to take the contraction, let us consider the contraction a single contraction between two second order tensors. So again, we are considering separately the Aij, and here I'm writing separately at a distance the Bkl. Currently there is no dot product, nothing going on. Suppose now I want to take the contraction between them, a single contraction. So I have a number of choices. I can set this I equal to K, or I can set I equal to L. Next I can set J equal to K, or I can set J equal to L. So I have 4 choices. For the purpose of illustration, let me take just one example where I set the J is equal to K. Okay, so set J equal to K. So this is a single contraction. The resulting entity will be what? Aij-B-J-L. Now you see the overall thing is of order 2. Now this was of order 2, this was of order 2, and the resulting entity is also of order 2. Okay, so we cannot simply subtract the two things. Rather, what is happening is this 2 and this 2. So this is 2 plus 2, just like a dyadic product, but the contraction, a single contraction, reduces from the overall thing a 2. So this is equal to 2. Similarly, if I go to the next page and I take a third order tensor like this, okay, and let's say we have this thing. So this was the original dyadic product. Now we want to take the contraction between them, a single contraction between them. Now we have even more choices. Okay, but again, for the purpose of illustration, let's say that we set J is equal to Q. Then what we'll get? A-I, J-K, B, P, J. and you see what are the total number of free indices here. So j is repeated here. J does not contribute to the order of this tensor. How many free indices are here? I is free index, k is free index, p is free index. So the overall order of this tensor is 3. So here it was 3, here it was 2. Okay, so what is happening is 3 plus 2 and minus 2. This 2 is because of a single contraction. This is giving me a 3, which is this 3. I hope this much is clear. Okay, next question by Mr. Iftikhar Alam. In L5, in the lecture 5 coordinate transformation, could you explain the reverse substitution of Kronecker delta? I don't remember what I said there in lecture 5. Iftikhar, if you don't mind, can you just do one thing? You just wait for the lecture to end. No. Even if you say right now, it will not be. I mean, it will be difficult for me to explain. What I will do is, you wait for the lecture to end. You post this question. Maybe you write this on a piece of paper. What exactly is not clear to you, and you take a little snapshot of it and you post in the mathematical preliminaries discussion channel. I will answer there. Okay. I think that way it will be better. Okay. So the teaching assistants, you please make a note of this. What Iftikhar is asking. In case I completely forget about it, you have to remind me to go back to this. Okay, next question is by Gyandeep Borgohain. Sir, request for an example solving of second order contraction. Gyandeep, can you please unmute yourself?
Sir.
Yes. Yes, Gyandeep, I did not quite understand what you're asking here.
So basically, I didn't get what is the second order contraction, sir?
I did not say second order, so there can be a double contraction or a single contraction.
Double contraction, sir.
Oh, double contraction. Sure. I can explain that. Okay. So let me go to this writing app. So example of a double contraction. So see, we can take this example itself. Okay, so let's consider this. So this Aijk, this is a third order tensor. Please mute yourself, guys. I can hear train noise, fan noise from behind you. Okay, so we have this Aijk as a third order tensor and this BPQ is a second order tensor. Okay, now in this particular, on this side, we had taken a single contraction between J and Q. When we see a double contraction, it basically means that in addition to this kind of equality between two indices, we consider the equality of another two indices. So let's say we set J equal to Q, and over and above that, let's say we have many other choices, but let us say that we set I is equal to P. Okay, so the resulting entity will be what? Ijk here, and this one you see now P will be equal to I. So we use that, and Q is equal to J. Okay, so here whatever we have done, that is an example of a double contraction, and you see the resulting entity because of this. You see I is a repeated index, it does not contribute to the order of the tensor. J is again a repeated index, it does not contribute to the order of the tensor. The only free index here is K. Okay, so this is contributing to the order of the tensor, and because there is only one free index, the overall entity, despite this horrible looking complicated thing, it is just a tensor of order 1, or it is simply a vector. Now, going by this kind of calculation, let's see if it works out. Okay, so this is a tensor of order 3. Let's write that down. This is a tensor of order 2. Let's write it down. Now, each contraction So I have said that the single contraction minus is 1, 2. So since now we have double contraction, it should. So one single contraction contributes to do two contractions, or a double contraction. It'll subtract 4. Okay, 2 into 2, 4. So this is 3 plus 2, 5 minus 4. This is equal to 1, which is perfectly true with what we have just discussed here. This is a tensor of order 1. I hope that much is clear, Gyandev.
Yes, sir. Now it's clear, sir.
All right, thank you. Okay, Vikram has come back. So I'll come back to Vikram. Wait. Using dyadic product transformation. So since you have such a doubt, I think it will be much better if you directly post your doubt on the mathematical preliminaries discussion channel. We can actually discuss it at length. Okay, so so it seems like a rather long thing to discuss. Okay. Can you guys still hear me? The MS Teams is showing me. If you can hear me, please raise your hand. There was a message on my part here. It was giving me a red colored symbol. Okay, thank you. I can see you raise your hand. Please lower your hands. So Shubham, it is my strong suggestion to you that you post your doubt on the mathematical preliminaries discussion channel. Utsav is asking, sir, if we say that my tensor is of order 2, does it mean that we need 2 vectors to fully specify a component of a tensor? We don't need it, but you can decompose them like that. So if you have a tensor of order 2 like Tij, then you can think of it to be composed of Aibj. You can do that. Okay, in fact, I believe in L6 I have done exactly that to show the transformation of a second order tensor. Okay, you can see the lecture number L6. Shivanshu is asking, sir, adding to my previous question regarding Kronecker substitution, how we have written EI delta JK is equal to. So if the Kronecker delta has a different has totally different indices, then no. So EI delta JK will not be equal to EI. That is not true. EI delta JK is not EI. I hope that is clear. So Dipanshu is asking, sir, how to get a double contraction result by matrix multiplication of 2 second order tensors? Well, as I said already, you cannot do that. And the teaching assistants have also said that. Okay, so if you have a second order tensor, which can be very well represented by a 3 into 3 matrix, and you have another second order tensor represented by 3 into 3 matrix, you cannot carry out the kind of matrix multiplications you are accustomed to and obtain results directly from this. Okay, so double contraction between a. So first of all, Dipanshu, let me ask you a question. In light of what we have just now discussed, just the previous thing that I wrote on the writing app. So since you're asking about a double contraction, you tell me that you have a second order tensor, you have another second order tensor, and you are carrying out a double contraction between them. What will be the order of the resulting tensor? Please write your answer in the conversation chat. So it will be 2 plus 2 minus what? Yes, very correct, 0. So is a order of a tensor of order 0 is what? It's basically a scalar. Okay, so what can you do with 2 3 into 3 matrices such that you end up with a single thing? I mean, you can think of doing very adventurous things like taking the trace and stuff like that, but I mean, you have to also get the correct answer. Okay, so right now it doesn't come to my mind how you can possibly do that. if you can find something, a clever way of doing it, I'll be very happy to learn from you. But right now I don't know. So Shivanshu is asking, sir, it is not clear to me. I'll post it in query so that you can understand the. Yes. Okay. All right, sure. So let us go back to some of the questions which we have skipped. I had requested Iftikhar Alam, if I remember correctly, to post his specific question in the mathematical preliminaries. So we'll try to resolve that there. What else have I asked to post in the mathematical preliminaries? Shubham's question also, I have requested him to post in the mathematical preliminaries, his doubt regarding perpendicular and parallel projections of a vector. This one I have answered. Shivanshu has said that he wants to post it on the mathematical preliminaries so that it is clearer. Okay. So students, if you have other questions, so Kashi Vishweshwara Rao Dasari, you are raising your hand. Do you want to ask something? You have lowered your hand now. Okay, so now Hima Vamsi Krishna is raising his hand. Do you want to ask something? If not, you can lower your hand. Okay, all right. So okay, Pushkar, if you prefer to write it in the mathematical preliminaries discussion channel, it's good. No problem. Anything else? Acha, at the very beginning, there was one question regarding the problem sheets. I said that I'll come back to it later. Let me see that. Right after Pujya Preet's question, Dipanshu Agarwal was asking question 1-4 in the problem sheets. Let me take a look. Question 1-4. What is the order of the following tensors? Expand each of them and write the corresponding matrix form. Del Ui, del Xj. Dipanshu, you want me to answer this? Del Ui, del Xj. Dipanshu, are you online? Okay, so see, forget about all the partial derivatives. Okay, so that del Ui del Xj, that is just some tensor entity. Okay, so you answer to me first. How many free indices are there? There are 2. So going by our just whatever we have discussed in this doubt clearing session, what do you think the order of that entity should be? Since there are 2 free indices, you answer in the conversation chat itself. Very good, 2. Okay, so this is, so suppose I had written like instead of del Ui del Xj, suppose I had written capital A Ij. Then would you have been able to expand it out in matrix form or something? Yes, very good. So if that is so, what is stopping you from attempting this thing? So let's take a look. So suppose I say that you have a second order tensor like this Aij, and I want you to write the equivalent matrix notation, the matrix representation. So this will be simply A11, A12, A13. You know this, all of you know this. This is very easy. Okay, now what we have in question number 1-4 is del Ui del Xj. Okay, so I mean the only apparent challenge is here because of the presence of these partial derivatives, but in terms of the indices, it is still like a second order tensor, so no problem. So whatever we have done here, we'll do exactly the same thing here. So it's simply del U1 del X1 del U1 del X2. You see what I'm doing? The first one, this I that I am considering like the first index, and this one I'm considering like the second index. Now, I know that some of you may have one very specific doubt. Let me just write down this entire thing, and then so this is, and then I'll come to that doubt. So this is the equivalent matrix representation. Now, one possible doubt is that here the I was coming in front of the J, and so we were very much confident about choosing which one should be the first index and which should be the second index. But here, I mean, this I is in the numerator and J is the denominator. Okay, and I have taken the I, the one in the numerator as the first index and J as the denominator as the second index. Okay. Now, it could have been a little bit tricky. I mean, just psychologically speaking. OK, so suppose you had something like del U Q del X P. Now, there is a temptation to arrange the indices in alphabetical order and then try to think of these things. That would be completely wrong. OK, just because in the alphabetical list P is coming before Q and I is coming before J, that is not the reason why we should be taking one as the first index and the other as the second index. Because this thing is coming in the numerator, that is why the Q should be the first index and this P should be the second index. I hope that much is clear to you. Dipanshu, does that answer your question? Okay, thank you. So Rahul Agarwal is asking, can we, for our visualization, assume that a tensor of order 3 can be represented as a matrix of matrices of tensor of order 2 and so on for higher degrees? I think this is exactly the answer that one of my teaching assistants has given in the discussion channel. Okay, so he has said that just like we can visualize a second order tensor which is having its equivalent matrix representation as a 3x3 matrix, and that in turn can be thought of as an array of column vectors. In a similar fashion, what Rahul Agarwal is saying, a third order tensor can also be thought of as an array of 3x3 matrices. Okay, as at least for the purpose of visualization, which is why I often say to my students that if you want a physical grasp, a very tangible physical grasp over a third order tensor, you can perhaps think of it like a Rubik's cube. I hope some of you have seen the Rubik's cube. So it is like that. But a fourth order tensor is difficult to visualize. Like you have to think of it like an array of third order tensors, like an array of Rubik cube in some hyperspace. So it is, I personally find it difficult to visualize, so I don't visualize it. I just think of it in terms of indices. So that makes my life easy. So I hope that answers your question to a certain extent. Next, Shubham Uttam is asking, what's the geometric meaning of double cross product and a vector with itself, if any? Will it be 0 all the time? What? I didn't understand. Geometric meaning of double cross product. Double cross product of a vector with itself. I have absolutely no idea what you are talking about, man. Can you please unmute yourself and ask me? I did not understand what you are saying. Shubham, can you please unmute yourself and ask? I have no clue what you are saying. Okay. Dual degree students, please ask something. It's starting to look bad. Okay, Orku Mondal. Now dual degree students are coming up with things. Okay, then you answer. Orko and Vibhakar, I think you know this. You've taken 2 courses with me, I think. Answer this yourself. What is A cross A? Like if A is a vector. Why? Why is it 0? Vibhakar, I'm asking you.
So because like a vector, like the component of A perpendicular to A is 0.
Yeah. Okay, but I think Shubham is not actually asking that. He's referring to something. I think Shubham, it is better that maybe you can write it out in full detail and post in the mathematical preliminaries. Okay. Orko, I don't think that's what he's asking. I think we misunderstood what he's asking. I also thought like that, A cross A, but that is certainly not what he's asking. Well, I mean, let him write down that properly in the mathematical preliminaries separately. Oh, he has already written something. We can see that for any dyad formed from 2 vectors A and B, its double cross product is 0. To be honest, Shubham, this double cross product, the way that it has been represented here, I am coming across this for the first time. Like nowhere in no research paper, nowhere I have come across this before. Okay, so honestly, my answer is that I don't know. Okay, I will try to find it out what is meant here, and I will try to find it out. You please give me the link to this. I'll try to take a look. If I can find out what they mean here, I'll come back to you. Right now, I don't know the answer to this question. You please give me the link to this web page, post it here. I'll try to take a look and try to make some sense out of it. What is this Wikivant? Okay, whatever it is, I'll take a look. Shivangshu is asking a very, very important question. So, sir, do we have to submit the solutions of the problem sheet? No, you don't have to submit the solutions of the problem sheet. So I think I mentioned this yesterday. So we have to make a clear-cut distinction in this long distance relationship, so to speak, about what we mean when we say something. So problem sheet is problem sheet, assignment sheet is assignment sheet. These are 2 separate entities. Problem sheet is purely meant for your own practice. You ask me doubt, you pick my brain, you pick the brain of the teaching assistants regarding that, discuss, use it as a learning resource. Like it is an extension of the notes. If you just read the notes and do nothing, you will learn nothing. So problem sheet is for your doing and learning.